Good morning, everyone. So today, this is your teacher, Shelly. So I would like to welcome you all to our English Maritime course for our week 67, day 2. So as part of our discussion, so it's all about the rotational motions and the stability management. So these topics, it all contains about the introduction to the rotational dynamics. We're going to discuss also about the role. So this is the dangerous motions, the pitch, and also the yaw or the heading control. We will also tackle about the master's class, or it's about managing all the 6 motions. And then we're going to end this by questions and answers. So first part for today's discussion is what we call the introduction to the rotational dynamics. But before all of this, I'll show you some recap about the translational motions. So we have here the 3 types: the surge, sway, and heave. So we discussed about the linear x-axis for the fore and aft, the linear y-axis for the port and the starboard. We also have here what we call the linear z-axis or the up and down motions. So here, what is the meaning of the rotational? So we have here what we called first is the angular movement. So rotation, it occurs when the vessels or pivots around one of its 3 primary axes, passing through the center of gravity. So unlike the linear translations, the rotation is measured in degrees of angular displacement and angular velocity. So as part of the torque factor, rotation is induced by a moment or what we call the torque. So in maritime context, this is usually result from an imbalance between the gravity and the buoyancy forces. So we have here the moment of inertia. So why the big ships they turning so slow? So the moment of inertia, this is the measure of how the mass is distributed relative to the axis of the rotation. So for a massive vessel, even in a small increase in a radius from the center significantly increases the energy that required to start or stop a rotation. So it's like a roll or yaw. So I have here some pictures of the pivot points in turns. So as you can see here, we have the shipping dynamics, the PP in maneuvering, so the forward speed, and then we have here what we call the astern speed. So the forward, the pivot point moves to approximately 1/3 or to 1/4 length from the bow. So it's forwarding. The speed is forward. While the astern speed, the pivot point shifts to the stern. So as the result, the impact of this is very crucial for for the pilots when judging the swings of the sterns. So I'm going to show you also some forces in a steady turn. So I have here some scene 1 and scene 2. So where you can see here the low heel, and in the scene 2 we have the max heel. So in a turn, centrifugal force act at G, pushing the ship outward. So this is the balance by the rightening movement that created as the vessel heels and buoyancy shifts. So we have here some key rotational motions, or what we call the rotational trio. So first is the rolling, we have pitching, and then the yawing. So the rolling, this is the rotation about the longitudinal axis or the side-to-side tilting. So this caused by the wave action and the wind. So particularly in the beam seas. While the pitching, this is the rotational about the transverse axis. So it is the bow and the stern nodding. So in short, this is the up and down movement of the bow and stern. So usually, it triggered by the head or following seas. And then lastly is what we call the yawing or the vertical axis. So this is the twisting or turning motion of the bow side to side. So this caused by the wind. It can be also caused by the current or sometimes an even wave action. So here you can see the difference between the stiffness and the tenderness. So stiff ship or the large GM, they are short, snappy, and violent regarding of the roll period. While the tender ship, they are more long, slow, and comfortable. So in terms of the stability, the stiff ship, they have the high initial stability, while the tender ship, they have the low initial stability. So in terms of comfort, the stiff ship, they are uncomfortable for the crew, while the tender ship, they preferred for the passenger vessels. And then, in the terms of the risk, regarding the stiff ship, the structural stress cargo ships, and then while the tender ship, they risk all the angle of lull or capsize. So we have here now what we call the metacentry. So the metacentry, this is the ship, is the intersection point of the vertical line passing through the new center of buoyancy. So the original vertical center line when the ship is heeled to a small angle. So as you can see here, this is the point from where the perpendicular lines draw from the center of the buoyancy and then intersect as the ship rolls at the small angles. So this is how the rotational framework. So the rotational framework of the ship, they are often called by the rotational degrees of freedom. So in marine engineering, they describes how a vessel moves around its center of gravity. So we are now going to discuss about the role or the what we call the dangerous motion. So they called it the dangerous rotational or the side-to-side motion of the ship because it occurring around its longitudinal axis due to the wave action. So particularly when the wave strikes the side of the hull. So this is the side to side tilting. So the role is the rotational motion of the vessel. So it's about its longitudinal axis in the fore or aft. So unlike the translational motion, the role creates the angular acceleration, which puts a massive stress on lashing systems and the human equilibrium. So I have here now the angle of vanishing the stability. So the point of no return. So the capsizing occurs when the ship's righting lever becomes zero or negative. So the angle of vanishing stability, it is the point where the ship is no longer possesses the energy to return to an upright position. So beyond this, the vessel will capsize. So this is the synchronous rolling resonance. So the synchronous rolling, it occurs when the wave period exactly matches the ship's natural roll period. So it causing the amplitudes to build dangerously with each wave cycle. So next is the parameter rolling or parametric rolling. So this one, it is a nightmare for ultra-large container ships because it occurs in head or following seas when the ship's hull form changes stability characteristics as wave pass. So, and the results is very sudden. So, the violent rolls, it could be up to 40% or 40 degrees in conditions where a ship would normally be expected to remain steady. So here, as you can see in the picture, this is the mechanical stability. So we have here the bilge keels, fin stabilizers, and gyroscopes. So the bilge keels, this is the passive longitudinal plates that increase a hydrodynamic drag to a dampened rolling motion. So here is the fin stabilizer. So this is the active underwater wings that adjust their angle to create a counter moment during the roll. And then we have what we call the gyroscopes, where the large spinning rotors that use the angular momentum to resist rolling forces. So these are very common in the yachts. So here now is what we call the liquid ballast stabilizations. So this is the dynamic of roll control. So we have here two types where we call this the massive tanks and the active tanks. The passive tanks, this is the connected tanks where liquid flows naturally out of the face with the ship's roll. So it acting as a counterweight. And then we also have here what we call the active tanks. So it uses a high-speed pumps to force water across the ship faster than gravity would allow. So next is about the danger of the cargo ships. So we have here the inertial, what we call the inertial forces. So when the G-force of a heavy roll exceeds the friction or lashing capacity, cargo shifts to the low side. So as you can see here in the picture, we have here the inertial forces. So how they calculate or how they calculating the roll period. So we have here the stopwatch method. So where the time of the shift from the center through one full roll or port of the starboard and the back to the center. And then we have the roll of the thumb. So meaning the time of at least 5 full rolls for accuracy. And then we also have the critical warnings. So this is the period when suddenly slow down. So the stability is likely compromised. And then we have what we call the pitch or the longitudinal rotation. So we have here the transverse axis of the rotations. So the y-axis pivot. So in pitching, this is the rotational movement of a vessel about its transverse or the y-axis. So the axis passes through the center of gravity from port to starboard. And then pitching is the rotational movement of a vessel about its transverse axis. So the axis passes through the center of the gravity from port to starboard. So we have also the physics of the seesaw. So this is while the bow moves upward, the stern moves downward, and the vice versa. So the magnitude of this movement is greatest at the extremities of the ships. So there was a primary cause of the head seas. So we have here the wave encounter frequency. So pitching is primarily driven by head seas. So meaning the waves meeting the bow directly or following seas. So as the bow meets a wave crest, buoyancy increases at the forward end. So it lifting it up. So as the crest passes to the stern, the bow drops into the trough, inducing the pitching cycle. But remember that the short period waves, they often cause a more violent pitching than the long swells. So we have here what we call the green water on deck. So first is the pounding force. So this is when the bow lifts out and slams back into the throw. So it creates a high pressure impulsive loads on the flat bottom plating. We also have here the whipping stress. So this is the impact that induces the high frequency vibrations throughout the entire hull girder, increasing the metal fatigue. And lastly is the plate deformation. So this is the repeated slamming in the heavy head seas that can lead to buckled plates and failure to internal forward structures. So there's also what we call the propeller emergence. So this is the loss of the efficiencies. So in heavy pitching, the stern may lift high enough for the propeller to particularly emerge from the water. So the impact it may cause different causes. So severe racing of the engine as load is lost, and then increase the cavitations and mechanical vibrations. And lastly, it can be also significant reduction in propulsion efficiency and speed. So here is the bow flare slamming. So the modern ships have flared bow, so what we call the outward slope. So to increase the reserve buoyancy and deflect spray, however, this creates a massive surface area for wave impact. So the impact pressure on the flare is proportional to the square of the vertical velocity and the flare area. So you can see here the difference between the trim and the pitch. So the trim, this is the static longitudinal tilt of the ship at rest, while the pitch is the oscillatory longitudinal rotations in motion. So in terms of their time frame, the trim is constant, while the pitch is transient or periodical. So the difference between the causes or the primary cause of these two, the trim has the internal weight distribution, while the pitch have the external wave or the environmental forces. So they are measured different. So the trim is difference between forward and aft draft, while the pitch it measured by the degrees of the angular displacement from the horizons. So the impact on the bridge visibility. So in heavy pitching conditions, the navigation bridge undergoes a massive vertical displacements. So this makes maintaining a consistent visual lookout difficult. So as the horizon continuously rises and falls. So the pilots and the officers must account for this. So they usually call the blind spots. So during the through of a pitch cycle, especially when navigating a high traffic waters or during the berthing maneuvers. So we are now going to tackle about the yaw or the heading control. So we have here the vertical axis of rotations. So we have the z-axis dynamic. So the yaw is the rotational motion of a vessel about its vertical z-axis. So this axis passes vertically through the center of gravity. So it represents the angular swinging of the bow and stern, port to port or the starboard. So which is directly determines the ship's heading. So we have here the heading control. So the yaw is the most frequently controlled motion. So while surge, the controlled by the engine, and heave is passive. So yaw is actively managed via the rudder or thrusters to maintain a steady course. So we have the vertical axis of rotation or the danger of broaching. So in heavy quartering seas, waves from the rear side or a ship can experience a violent yawing. So if the wave forces the stern around too rapidly, so the ship may broach too. So broaching is the vessel is thrown broadside into the wave through. So this is risking structural damage or capsize. So the autopilot performance settings. So we have here the yaw limit. It sets the allowable deviations before the autopilot applies a corrective rudder. We have the rudder gain, which is determines the severity of the rudder response. High gain causes a hunting behavior. And then we have the counter rudder that anticipates the inertia of the yawing swings to stop the turn precisely on heading. So we also have here the directional stability. So CLR versus the center of the efforts. Wind pressure on the superstructure or what we call the center of effort that creates a yawing moments of relative to the underwater center of the lateral resistance or what we call the CLR. So if the wind from the beam, the ships may weather crop. So or what we call the fall off depending on its stream and windage profile. So COG versus the heading during yaw. So the difference between this is the COG. This is the directions of the ship's bow is pointing. While heading during yaw, this is the directions of the actual movement over the earth. In terms of their sensor, so gyro compass or the magnetic compass, the COG. While the other one is the GPS or the GNSS. So in terms of their yaw impact, COG oscillates rapidly during yawing. While when they're heading during the yaw, it changes more slowly due to the hull inertia. So I have here the figure 8 movement. So this is the dynamic anchor sway. So in high winds or strong tides, the anchored ship does not stay static. So it performs a rhythmic figure 8 or yawing motions as the bow swings across the wind. And then this increases the tension on the anchor cable and risks dragging if the yawing amplitude becomes excessive. So we have here what we call the horsing. So this is the yawing and swaying. So the motion and the impact force. So first, you can see here the figure 1 and 2. This is from right to left where the anchor chain is tight conditions. And then the left side position, the anchor chain is become relaxed. So this way, the ship's center gravity is moving in a figure of 8. So the pattern as illustrated by a green track in the diagram. So we have here what we call the active counter yaw tactics. So first is what we call the hard rudder. So it uses used for a quick recovery. So when the yawing rate exceeds safe limits. And then the rudder cycling. So this is the small periodic applications of the rudder to dump a natural oscillations in a seaway. And then we have what we call the drag anchor. It using a lightly deployed anchor to provide a steadying longitudinal force to reduce a yawing at a low speed. And then we have the bow thruster. So this is highly effective for a countering yaw during docking through efficiency drops above 3 knots. So this time we have the yaw roll coupling. So this is the hydrodynamic interactions. So when the ship rolls, its underwater hull shape becomes asymmetric. So this asymmetry creates a pressure differential that induces a yawing movement. So the hydrodynamic interaction roll to yaw. So from ship's roll, inducing yawing moment. And then we have what we call the centrifugal induced roll. So conversely, the sudden yaw or turn creates a centrifugal force at G which induces an outward heel. So managing this coupling is vital for the safety of a passenger ships and the car carriers. So we are going to move now about the master's class or managing all the 6 motions. So we have here the combined motion reality. The the superposition principle. So in a real seaway, it is rare to experience a single degree of freedom. So the motions are coupled, meaning energy transfers across axes. And then the complex forcing. They have the multi-directional waves, cross seas, or induced simulation pitch, roll and heave, creating extreme accelerations at the ship's extremities. So we have here the heavy weather checklist. So in the deck, they secure all the loose gear and lashing. So it will be prevents the cargo ships during the roll and pitch. So in the bridge, seal dead lights and verify water light or watertight integrity. So this one, it will protect against the heave surge flooding. And then in the engine, they need to adjust the ballast for optimal GM. So this one, it will controls roll period resonance. And for the galley, it secure all hot liquids and stove rails. So heavy against sudden sway, yaw, and accelerations. So we have here the strategic weather routing. So we have the optimum ship routing or OSR. So the best management of the 6DOF is prevention. So the weather routing uses a satellite data to predict sea states and avoid the resonance zones. So by this, you're going to avoid cross seas to reduce unpredictable coupled motions and then navigate around long period swells to prevent parametric rolling. Another reason of this, it can be the human factors and fatigue. So the crew performance gap. So vertical accelerations from heave and pitch are the primary cause of the seasickness and rapid onset fatigue. So how they going to manage this strategy? So it increase the watch keeping rotations and ensure the diet or hydrations are adjusted before entering a heavy weather zones. And then there are also some emergency responses. So when the cargo shifts, if violent roll or pitch induces a cargo shifts, the vessel will take on a permanent list. So the center of the gravity moves off center. So the immediate action should be change the heading to minimize the roll period and then counterbalance with the extreme cautions. So this will be now our will be the question and answer portion. So first question is, which rotational motion occurs around the longitudinal or what we call the front to back axis and is considered the most dangerous for the ship's stability? So we have here pitching, yawing, rolling, and then lastly is the heaving. So the correct answer is the rolling. So this is the considered the most dangerous for the ship stability. So next question is, if the ship is heading directly into the steep waves and causing the boat to rise high and then plunge downward into the water, this motion is known as, is it surging, pitching, swaying, or yawing? So the answer is pitching. So another question. So what is the primary risk associated with the excessive yaw during the navigations? So first we have the ship may take green water over the bow. B. The propeller may emerge from the water. C. It becomes difficult to maintain a straight course heading. Or lastly, cargo may shift vertically. So the correct answers will be, it is letter C. So it will become difficult to maintain a straight course or heading. Another question that we have here is the synchronous rolling. It occurs when A. The ship roll period matches the wave period. Or B. The ship is moving at the same speed as the waves. Another one is the ship is anchored in a calm harbor. Or the bow and stern move upward at the same time. So synchronous roll. So this is the synchronous rolling occurs when the ship rolls period matches the wave period. And then last question will be, which of the following is the common method used to mitigate pitching in a heavy seas? Is it increasing the speed to slice through waves? Or B, using the bow thrusters? C, increasing the ship's lateral windage? Or D, reducing the speeds and adjusting the heading? So the common method used in a mitigate pitching is D, reducing speed and adjusting the heading. So that will be all for today. So again, I hope you learned something about the rotational motion and the stability management. So this will be your teacher Shelly for today's discussion.